This is presidential candidate Deion D. Jenkins, the only Black Agenda priority candidate, the only legitimate reparations presidential candidate, coming to you today with another broadcast. I have something very interesting. I just discovered new details with the ADOS movement. Mr. William Sandy Darity, who is a leading economist, I think he is a professor at Duke University as well, if I'm not mistaken. I just discovered a tweet that he posted way back in June of 2019. I want to give thanks to the young man who posted the tweet in my comment section, talking towards one of the guys who left a comment in my comment section going against what I was saying. Another guy intervened and actually backed me up with this tweet. And he actually sent a link to the tweet. And I'm going to read you exactly what Mr. Sandy William Darity said. All right. So this is way back in June of 2019. He said, eligibility for reparations could include Dolezal. That's Rachel Dolezal, by the way, who apparently self-identifies as Black for a number of years. If she also could establish that she has an enslaved ancestor in the United States, both conditions should be met, and self-classification is not biological. So basically what he's trying to tell you is if a white person could prove that they have a Black ancestor somewhere in their family, somewhere in their lineage, and if they classify as Black, then they can get reparations. And that's what I was telling you guys. Now, Sandy Darity, for those of you who do not know who that is, he's one of the leaders of the ADOS movement. He's not leading directly, but he's an indirect leader because the leaders of the ADOS movement use a lot of his data. All right. So if you don't think that he's going to have a lot of influence in your reparations package, knowing that the founders of the ADOS movement use his data, then you got something coming. All right. So do you know how many white people in America have Black ancestry in their family who could trace their family tree 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 generations and find somebody in their tree who just so happened to be Black, who just so happened to come from American slaves? There are millions of them. So with that being said, using the term ADOS, you would be waiting in line with white folks for your reparations package. And if you think that you're not going to be placed at the very bottom of the line, you got something coming, because we have a long history in this country that proves that anytime we are lumped up with white folks or people who can pass for white, right? Anytime we are lumped up with them, we get backburnered. Okay. So that's something to think about. That's something to consider. This isn't going to be a very long video, I don't think. But I wanted to really talk about that issue. It's really sad how we have a movement going on and there isn't a lot of pushback with the acronym, the ADOS acronym, which is not specific because the acronym stands for American Descendants of Slavery. And I talked about that. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but it's not a specific lineage claim, because the correct lineage claim should be Blacks who descended from American slaves, because it specifies your lineage claim, because it specifies the type of American, Black, and the type of slavery, American slavery. So when you say Blacks who descended from American slaves, you are only talking about one specific type of Black person. Okay, because there is only one specific type of Black person who descended from American slaves. So by using that term, Rachel Dolezal cannot have any access to your reparations package. Rachel Dolezal cannot have any access to your birthright. And that's why I really drove home and highlighted that we should not back that acronym. I am not against the ADOS movement. I am against the acronym. All right. I want to make that clear. The movement, there are a lot of people in the movement who have a good heart and have great intentions. But the acronym has to get corrected, because on a legal documentation, if you use ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, other people are going to be able to use that. And I gave a good illustration, right? If let's say a Brazilian is born in America, well, he's technically an American. And let's say he could trace his lineage back to slavery, Brazilian slavery. Well, he could say, well, I'm ADOS because I'm an American. I'm born in America. According to the Constitution, that makes me American. You cannot argue that in no American court setting. And I'm a descendant of slavery, right? I'm a descendant of Brazilian slavery. The slavery part doesn't specify, but that Brazilian American cannot say, I am a black who descended from American slaves. See, he can't say that. Now, he may be black American, but he cannot say I descended from American slaves, because now he's lying and he don't qualify. So the reason why you have to specify and keep the Rachel Dolezals out of your package, out of your birthright, is because the reason why you have to do that is because you need to make your lineage claim specific. And you have to do that because you do not want the Rachel Dolezals of the world to take your birthright. And that gives me another point of view as well. You know, just because you are an economist and just because you have a long resume of how many schools you went to, how many degrees you have, does not make you qualify for common sense all of the time. Okay. You are not always the smartest person in the room just because you have a whole lot of degrees. You may be the more informed person in the room regarding knowledge, but far as practical sense and common sense and knowing how to navigate on an intellectual level that deals with more with IQ, and no disrespect to William Darity, but I question his reasoning skills. Now, I know that he's a very smart man. He's a very informed man, I should say. But just based on that statement right there, knowing the history of Rachel Dolezal, it is very disturbing that he will make a statement like that, and it will make me question his reasoning skills. All right. So with that being said, I am going to leave the tweet link inside of the description box so you can see it for yourself and you don't think I'm lying to you. All right. So this is what it is. This is Dion D. Jenkins, the only Black Agenda Priority Presidential Candidate, DMLG, Defense Money Land Grants, the 4 elements of reparations constructed from the 4 elements of American society, which are defensive structure, capital.